The following is a Tony Lasano podcast, an Opie show on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. This is Free Kicks. Okay, Adam, I have a special stat that I'd like to share with you before we start the show today. You ready?
Yeah.
Since 2017-2018 season, Mo Salah, Liverpool striker, winger, has gotten more yellow cards for taking off his shirt celebrating goals against Manchester United than Manchester United has scored goals against Liverpool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great statistic. It really is.
I just wanted
all-time leading scorer, right? That's the thing.
I just wanted to scare off all of our Manchester United fans right before we even start the show because I think they're a little surly. But we'll get into that because it's time for Free Kicks.
And now, Free Kicks. Free Kicks with Illinois Youth Soccer Association's Director of Coaching, Adam Howarth, and Rick Kemper.
And by the way, Mo Salah's only got 2 yellow cards for taking his shirt off. And Liverpool, Manchester United has only scored 1 goal against Liverpool since 2017-2018.
That's great. I can hear our 2 Man United fans logging off now. So that's it. It's done.
We still love you. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm going to say some nice things about Manchester United. We've got other stuff to talk about. We have an FA Cup update to discuss. Why don't we just start with that? Because we're down to the final 8 teams in the FA Cup. 5 more Premier League teams were knocked out since we last spoke about this. 2 were not huge upsets because they were knocked out by fellow Premier League teams. Like West Ham was knocked out by Manchester United. Leeds United was knocked out by Fulham. But the other ones, this is where the FA Cup is so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Blackburn Rovers, they play in the Championship, correct?
That's right.
They come in against Leicester City, knock them out. Leicester City, gone. Sheffield United, a team that barely made it past Wrexham, right? Had to have a replay against Wrexham. Comes in and knocks out Tottenham, who's in the top 4 right now in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And then Southampton, this is the biggest upset, I think.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Is knocked out by Grimsby Town, which is just like a Dickinsonian name if there ever was one. A team that plays way down in League 2, which, of course, in England means League 4. Mm-hmm. Right, in the 4th division?
Yeah, 4th tier, yeah.
Yeah, 4th tier. And by the way, in that league, they're in 17th place.
That's right. Struggling. Yeah, they might be running out of the league, let alone stay, being in the league. Yeah.
Now, that has got to be a wake-up call for Southampton, who is not on a good streak.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was a little bit of obviously a massive shocker to lose that game. And this is the beauty of the FA Cup. We talk about it so much about how anybody can beat anybody on any given day. It's similar to our March Madness that is upon us here coming up in the next few weeks. So I think that's what makes the FA Cup so special. And the nice thing is it's actually running through at the same time of the regular league. And so anybody can beat anybody on any given day. And you saw that happening consistently. But there's so many good games coming up looking at what we have.
I know.
But what's really interesting, personally, my good friend Mick, who's a big Burnley fan, he is probably massively excited because his manager, Vincent Kompany, a Man City legend, is going to play Manchester City.
How about that?
That could be an upset. I mean, you hate to say. I mean, obviously, Man City's got everything that they possibly need, and they are at home. But with the way that the manager is going to motivate his team, that could be a possible upset. So that could be really exciting. And Grimsby at Brighton, who knows? You never know.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, sometimes these Premier League teams come in and they take it a little for granted, right? Or they throw out some of the players that don't get to play much just to give them a little bit of playing time, thinking this is going to be a piece of cake. right?
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes that's why it happens. Mm-hmm. But let's face it, right now we've got 8 teams left, and only 4 of them are from the Premier League. We got Manchester teams plus Brighton and Fulham.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you're guaranteed a championship team in the semi-finals because Sheffield United plays Blackburn.
Right.
So there's a guaranteed upset team in the semi-finals, so they're only 1 game away from getting to the final, which would be great. And that's always exciting when those underdogs get to the final.
Yeah, and again, it's just completely random the way they choose who plays who, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
And even where they play is completely random.
There's no seeding. The team pulled out of the hat. They're the home team first. Then they play whoever. Theoretically, let's say what could happen, you could get Man United semi-final.
Yeah.
Let's say, and Sheffield United, Grimsby semi-final, so
right.
or whoever, Blackburn, whoever it could be. So anything can happen. That's the nice thing about the FA Cup in terms of how it's all set up. Such a random thing, and that's why people love it. It's the oldest cup competition in the world.
Do you have any predictions about where we are right here? I mean, we've talked about if there are 4 games left here.
Yeah, I really do think that Man United will probably lose to Fulham. I've lost every single Man United fan that's ever listened, and I think we've got Sheffield United in the semi-final, and I think you're going to have Sheffield United could get to the final, and it could be a Sheffield United, potentially Man City or Fulham final. That's my prediction.
Wow. Now, Sheffield United has been in the Premier League recently.
Yeah.
And actually, they're playing quite well this year, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. They're second in the championship.
Yeah.
So they're right there. I mean, you've got Burnley, who's top of the championship. They're still in the FA Cup as well. They're flying away with it. They're 13 points clear. So there's no way they're not going to get promoted automatically.
Right.
Sheffield United is still 4 points clear of Middlesbrough in third. So they're doing extremely well. And then Blackburn is actually in 4th spot. So theoretically, some of these championship teams could be in the Premiership next year. Yeah. So that's the exciting part about it. But yeah, I think anything can happen on any given day. But I'm excited to see. I think Sheffield United's got something. When you beat a team like Wrexham, who's got the whole world supporting them. Yeah. And then you go through and then you knock off Tottenham. There's something's going to happen there. So I think they might get through to at least to the semifinals for sure.
So I did watch both of those Wrexham games, and the first one, I think it was pretty clear that Sheffield United kind of took it lightly. But the second one, Wrexham was right in there until the very end, and then Sheffield scored 2 goals towards the end of the game to win it.
That's right. Yeah, right at the end they won the game, and I think that there was definitely a gulf in class between. I mean, there's a championship, and you've got a team that's not even in the league. So that gives you an idea. But great result for Sheffield United against a team that obviously has been doing so well in the Premier League too. So I'm excited to see how they can finish up.
Okay, the FA Cup resumes on March 18th. So mark it on your calendar. Right. And actually, this is a free advertising for ESPN Plus. But the whole reason I bought ESPN Plus was just to watch the FA Cup.
There you go.
And it's worth it. And I guess they have the MLS on there too.
They'll have some. Fox and ESPN Plus show some MLS games for sure. A lot of those games are now on Apple TV, actually. So that's the only thing. Yeah, so that's another thing you got to buy.
No, I'm not going to do it. All right, it's actually I already have Apple TV because of Ted Lasso. So
exactly, there you go.
Which is coming back this week. But we'll talk about that another time. Right now, it's time to find out this.
Premier League football. What's happening on the pitch?
And we talked a little bit about the Premier League for the FA Cup, but in the actual league, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a big game this past weekend.
Yeah, I did see that. I think we picked that as the game to watch. If I
think
remember.
we did, and because you said so, I decided to watch it.
Okay.
Otherwise I would have never watched.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Why would you? Why would you? Yeah.
So Liverpool at home against Manchester United, a longtime rival, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, long-time rival, having a great season.
Yeah.
Recent Carabao Cup winners.
Right.
Having, Ten Hag's organized this team, doing fantastically well. Everything bodes to a nice, even game at the very least.
And Liverpool kind of staggering a little bit this season coming into the game. They've had a couple of wins in a row, but they had just come off a big loss in the Champions League, and was, I think, safe to say they were not the favorite in this game.
Definitely not. I would have, if I was a betting man, I would have bet a considerable amount of money on Manchester United to get a good result in that game.
Yes, me too. And that's why I'm not a betting man, because the final score was 7-0. 7-0. And the goals came from everywhere. Mo Salah had 2 goals. Gapco had 2 goals. Nunez had 2. They looked like Liverpool has looked the last few years. It's like, where has this team been?
Unbelievable. What an amazing result. And nobody could have predicted this. Absolutely nobody. Especially with the way Manchester United were doing, how well they were doing. They're in 3rd spot. And to be fair, the game was even up until, the last few minutes of the halftime, and they scored 1. It's only 1-0 at halftime.
Right. That's true.
And then all of a sudden, it just seemed like goal after goal after goal. I think there was 3 goals in 10 minutes if you break it up from the 45th minute to the 55th minute. That's what broke Manchester United's back, and it just led to an avalanche of players, and the heads went down, and it was an absolute domination by Liverpool.
And I've been on the losing end of games like that, and there's nothing worse. It's so frustrating. And you could see it in the Manchester United players. I can't believe I'm going to say this sentence, but I'm going to say it. I actually felt sorry for them. I actually felt sorry for Manchester United or Manchester United, because their players clearly wanted to kill somebody. I don't know if you saw. Luke Shaw was going around and just taking people down left and right. He wanted blood. Bruno Fernandes was running all over the field like he wanted to kill somebody. These guys were out of their minds. They were so mad. And the madder they got, the more they left the slots open, and then boom, they just kept pounding the goals in, just pounding them in.
I've never seen anything like it. It was absolutely amazing. The amount of chances Liverpool were able to create and what they just kept on doing. It was just, people talk about a complete performance, and that was pretty much as close as you're going to get, because it led to a team that just bamboozled Manchester United. It's like they didn't know what to do. They really didn't know. They were just chasing shadows. It was the classic, oh my goodness, where am I going? What am I trying to do? I can't. They couldn't get the ball. Like you said, it was the Liverpool of old. It's what we expected in the last 3-4 years, and they've gone back to it. So massive confidence boost for them.
It was the worst loss in Manchester United history.
Mm-hmm.
That's saying something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Manchester United came into this game playing so well. I really think they can just walk past it and just put it in the rearview mirror. It reminded me of that time that Aston Villa came in and beat Liverpool 7-1 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
The next week, everything was more or less okay again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's a great photo that I tweeted. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw that. I did see that. Yeah.
It's Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville One played for Liverpool. That would be Jamie.
Yeah.
And Gary played for Manchester United. And I think they were working on a broadcast together.
That's right.
And he took a picture. Jamie took a picture of the two of them. And he's got this, this grin on his face. This satisfied, smug grin on his face. And Gary Neville looks like his girlfriend just broke up with him. It's just
unbelievable.
Check it out. I tweeted it on our Twitter page. You can check that out.
Well, and I think if you a little advertisement for the BBC website, which I spent a lot of time on. But if you go to the ratings of the players, I think this is hilarious. So if you look at Liverpool's ratings, Salah almost 9, and they're very conservative. 8.94. Everybody's got an 8. I think the lowest was like a 7.61, and that was one of the substitutes coming in. Manchester United, 2.33, 2.27. Bruno Fernandes, 1.97.
Wow.
That gives you an idea of how poor they were. The best player they had was Marcus Rashford, and he was rated as a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, and was pulled from the game.
Exactly. So I feel sorry for your Man United fans. I know losing by 7, but it's a one-off. Forget about it. You move on. You're still in the Champions League. Got some big games ahead of you, and still potentially making the top 4.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be fine for Manchester United, but that was a very bad day at the office.
Yes.
There was another very exciting game, that was the Arsenal's game against Bournemouth. Now, Arsenal has gotten to this point where they're making it a little too interesting for their fans, I think.
Yeah. Wow. What an amazing game. So I was watching this. So obviously I was watching the Chelsea game. Mm-hmm. Just as a reference point, Chelsea won.
and scored one goal.
Hey, that's all you need. One more than the other. But anyway, so they won, and then the game was finished, and then they went into injury time. They flipped it over to the Arsenal. They couldn't have picked a better time.
Yeah.
It was constant action, Arsenal down the throat of the Bournemouth team, and you knew something was coming. And then Reece Nelson, 97th minute, scores the winner, and Arsenal were down by 2 goals.
I know.
They were losing 2-0. And Bournemouth, I don't know if you saw this, but they scored right off the kickoff.
Yeah.
One of the best kickoffs I've ever seen. That's the way to do a kickoff. I'm going to use that one down the road. That was brilliant.
It was.
But they scored right off the kickoff, down 2-0. I'm looking at like, is this happening? And they came back, but Reece Nelson, absolute slammer of a shot into the corner. Great goal, 3-2. Wow. What a match.
It was one of those matches that makes you think maybe this really is their year.
Yes.
Right? I mean, he scored in the 97th minute in a game that had 6 extra minutes scheduled. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
It's a good point. Good point. Yeah, exactly. And sometimes what ends up happening is that they substitute people, but that actually ends up putting more time onto the injury time. So
right.
You add them. I think the uncommon rule is 30 seconds additional for a substitute. So that's typically. So you think you're actually saving time, but you're actually adding more time on. So yeah, it's a tough one because I get it. It kind of slows the game down, stops any momentum, but in the end, it could hurt you. And that's exactly what happened to Bournemouth.
Yeah. Well, as we head into the next weekend, Arsenal has a 5-point lead, and so it's looking pretty good for them. All right, Free Kicks is brought to you by the Illinois Youth Soccer Association.
Illinois Youth Soccer has been providing service for the Illinois soccer community since 1975 and has a strong history of credibility. Illinois Youth Soccer is a non-profit corporation, official state association and charter member of the U.S. Soccer Federation and U.S. Youth Soccer. Illinois Youth Soccer administers U.S. Soccer Federation coaching programs, the Olympic Development Program, and U.S. Soccer Federation referee programs. For more information, go to illinoisyouthsoccer.org.
And I understand there's going to be some news coming out of your office, maybe for next week's show.
Yes, yes. We want to talk a little bit about our trip. We've got a couple of trips going on, so we'll have a lot more details. But I can tell you it's going to be very exciting. We're taking two teams over, one to Deutschland, over to Germany, to Munich. They're spending 9 days there. And then I'm lucky enough to be on a trip with a group of 2010 boys. It's the 2008 girls going to Germany. I got the 2010 boys, and we are headed to London and Manchester. So I will give everybody the lowdown on games that we're watching, who we're playing. The girls pretty much have their schedule. You're going to have to help me with the pronunciations of the German teams they're playing,
Sure.
which would be great. But we're really excited about it. It's great to be back traveling again, especially after the last few years. And I'm just so excited for these kids to experience international play. So
Are you going to get to see your mom?
That's a great question. I'm not sure if they can make it up to Manchester. Maybe my mum and my brother might be able to, maybe for a game or not. But we do have some setup that we are going to be live streaming some of these games. So that's another part of the process. So that's going to be fun.
Okay. Well, we'll get all the details next week. But right now, it's time for this.
Time now to guess the Premier League star.
Okay, I'm going to say this is a tough one.
All right, good.
This is a tough one. So play
I like to
along
be
at
tested.
home. If you can guess this star before Adam, you're the champion this week in your house. Just walk around with a big crown on your head. This week's star is 21 years old. Okay. So he's born in this century. Yeah, he's a year older than our sons, basically.
Yeah, great.
He plays for, we're going to call it a mid to bottom table club. All right. So they're not in the bottom three, but they're not in the top of the league. All right. Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't know this until I started researching this, but his father was also a professional footballer.
Okay.
Who played briefly with Manchester United. Wow. And his father was born in Jamaica. But the son was born and raised in England. And yet he plays for another country's national team, neither Jamaica nor England. And they were in the recently completed World Cup. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think I might have a clue.
Okay.
I think I may have a good idea. Is this a player had a pretty good weekend? Would you say?
I would say yes.
And he scored a goal. Would you say he scored a goal?
I'd say he might have scored 2 goals.
Okay. All right. Does he play for Nottingham Forest?
He does. Very good.
So I'm going to have a guess. He wears number 10, plays for Wales. Brennan Johnson, is that right?
That is correct. That is correct. I had a couple more hints for you. The sheriff in his town is probably still hunting for Robin Hood. That would have given it away, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yes, Brennan Johnson. He's a good young player.
He was great. I watched a lot of that game, actually. And that's probably the most I've watched of Nottingham Forest this year, to be honest.
Same with me.
But I enjoyed watching it. I think he was very good. There was no question. He was very good. Always, and I actually contemplated bringing him in onto my fantasy team this week, but it just didn't make the cut. It was close. He was close.
He's got 9 goals. You know.
Oh, he's bagging them in.
Yeah. And that last goal he had was just an amazing goal. I mean, he just pounded that ball into the net. It's just fun to watch the young players coming up like that, because this kid's going to be a star.
I think so too. Yeah, exactly. He's very, very good. And he gets in behind. he was a little bit emotional at times, so maybe got a
Right.
But
he's still young.
That's the youthfulness back in the day. You was like that too, Rick, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
Youthful.
No, we have that surgically removed in Germany.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was great. So yeah, I'm excited to see how he does. It's a pity he's not English, but the Wales can definitely do with some superstars. That's for sure.
But the thing is, he's not Welsh. That's, his
I know.
He could be playing for England.
He could. He could.
Right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But right now it's time for this.
Now time for Adam's Weekend Soccer TV Tip.
His mother must be Welsh, right? That's the only thing I can think of because his father's Jamaican.
Yeah, they could have. Yeah, it could be a grandparent. It could be. I mean, they go so far back these days. That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what are we going to watch this weekend?
It's an interesting week. I mean, I'm looking at the games. I'll be honest with you, I'm not bamboozled by any great matchups. I don't know if you had a chance to look at them, but
no, I haven't.
After getting that text message during the week from our good friend, I think we might have to go in and explore this team. So I think we're going to have to watch. I'm going to call it the Battle of the Clarets.
Oh,
West Ham versus Aston Villa. So this mid-table team, Aston Villa, that our good friend supports, I think we're going to have to watch them and maybe try to really dig deep into why this team is mid-table. So maybe we can look at this a little bit more closely. But again, there's a lot of kind of interesting games, but I think this one sticks out for me. So it's Sunday, March 12th. West Ham at home, could be a great atmosphere. The Hammers against the Villains, Aston Villa, 9:00. Watch it.
Why don't you tell everybody what that text was from? We're talking about our fashion critic, Todd Schneider.
Yeah, exactly. I think there was for a very short time, Aston Villa was above Chelsea. I think it was for like 5 minutes. I think it was so, it was pointed out that they were above, but that soon dropped down as soon as Chelsea got the final result. So
they got their one goal.
Exactly. That's all you need. That's all you need. Remember, you only need to score. This is always my biggest thing. You score one more than the other team, you're going to win every time, and that's all you need to do. So exactly, right. Clean sheets, and it's my centre back that scored it. That's the great thing.
That's true.
So yeah.
All right. Well, Free Kicks is brought to you by Green White Soccer Club, and I don't know if you heard this, but as of this past weekend, I am now officially the president of the club.
I saw it on Sky Sports News. Actually, it came up. It was a big, huge news story. Congratulations, well done. Or is it by default? Whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it was major news. It was in the underneath of the ESPN zone thing there. Yeah, it was great. Congrats, by the way.
Well, thank you. Now I may fly to Munich with you in Green White 1 with my Secret Service detail.
First class.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, 67 years of soccer excellence. Green White Soccer provides a great travel soccer program for kids of all ages, led by former World Cup player and coach Mustafa Edders. Go to www.greenwhitesoccer.org. And by the way, my son, Sean, the youngest one, told me that anybody who says www like that is got to be at least 60 years old. So apparently people don't say the W's anymore. So
yeah, well, that's why I sent you that note about that baseball team that was starting up. So,
Thank you so much. All right, special thanks to our executive producer Tony Lasana with opishows.com. Opie is hippo backwards. OPPIHshows.com. He sent me a picture of a baseball team looking for players 65 and older. We're distributed by Ed Silla with Radio Misfits. Great Talk Radio isn't dead. It's just moved to a better place. RadioMisfits.com. And we'll be back again next week with a brand new episode of Free Kicks. The preceding was a presentation of Opie Productions. Find our other great shows wherever you find podcasts, including opishows.com. Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Opie Productions.
Tony, can you shut up?